how's everybody doing today? Hey, this is Pat Sherman Ray, and this is This Week in Prophecy. I want to welcome you all to the broadcast. Hope everybody's doing well today. This is it's a short week. We just got over Veterans Day. I'm so excited about it. I was doing a podcast early this morning, and I said Labor Day. So for some of you who actually kind of follow that kind of stuff, you're probably going, Sherman, yeah, are you all right? because you said it was Labor Day, but no, it was actually Veterans Day. And so I want to welcome you all to the broadcast. Hope everybody's doing really well today. I know I did. Got out of town a little bit this weekend, and so I'm very happy to get back on the show. We got some interesting things that we're going to work on today, and we're gonna do a testing thing. So I'm gonna first, before we even say any more about that, if you are watching us on YouTube, folks, we encourage you, go ahead, hit that subscribe button on the side over here, and let us know that you're loving the show. We'd love to get you updated on the show every time we come on. Or if you're watching us on godstream.org, thank you so much for being a part of the Godstream network, and I want to thank you for that. And what would a show be, I'm starting to get to say, what would a show be without my partner in crime, Aaron Newton? Aaron, how are you doing today?
Hey, what's happening? I'm just enjoying my Veterans Week. Of course, in my house it's Veterans Week, so I get lapped on all week by my wife.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you for your service, sir. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. You may notice I am wearing an Army shirt and a Navy hat because
I'm thinking, are you conflicted there? So you were served in both the Army and the Navy.
I did. I was 10 years in the Navy, and then I went into the Army and retired from the Army.
And so which one?
A lot of people ask that. How come you're a Navy? What's that?
Yeah, I'm wondering now, which one did you, you don't have to tell this, which one did you like the best, Army or Navy?
Well, I mean, personally for me, the Navy was a little more of a fit because I was really good at my job. But, I was really good at my job. And so I went pretty far in 10 years. But then when I went in the Army, it was just a different scene. I thought they would be similar, but it was very different. And it was hard to adjust because I had been in 10 years and they expected, I was new in the Army. They expected me to know a lot of things that somebody who had been in the military or somebody who had been in the Army for 10 years to already know. And it was kind of hard in the beginning, especially because, like I'd hear, Sergeant, what, don't you know this? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Just stand over there and don't touch anything, right?
Yeah, I will say this, because of my job, I worked on Patriot missiles. We did a lot with the Navy because they had the same radars that we did on the ships. And so I remember like they would go meet with them and then come back. And like, I can't understand half the things they were saying because it's, when you get on a ship, there's like a whole new language you have to learn, And so, I would like, yeah, like I understand. I'll go with you next time and interpret for you. But, they would give me a hard time because, like whenever we wear things with our ribbons or medals, it was all Navy stuff and Navy pins and like, everybody give me a hard time, call me swashbuckler and stuff like that. But, as if they even knew what that meant, but whatever,
But it sounded cool.
It was great.
Yeah.
I love serving my country. It was the best thing for me, man. I really changed my whole life to be even just a productive citizen, like before that, it was all about me and like, I just didn't care about things, but it gave me a lot of discipline and taught me, how to be a productive citizen. So it was the best thing I did.
Well, I know this isn't part of the show, but do you think that it's probably a great idea to have everybody who is able-bodied man or woman serve in the military of the United States?
Well, I would say this. I think it is a good. I mean, I do think it is a great thing for especially young kids. 18 years old, maybe their mom. I found this a lot where a lot of these kids were 18 years old. Their mom did everything for them, and then they had a hard time in the military because they were used to that. But at the end of it, when they would leave or whatever, they were just different people. And I, talked to a lot of them now, and they went on to have great lives, married, children, great careers and stuff, because I'm sure that discipline helped them. But, I think it really should be a volunteer thing because it's more from the heart. I do know that, like during the Iraq War 2006, a lot of people, they were letting people in with like felonies, tattoos on their face, like just they needed people. And so a lot of that you saw that, they discounted them for so many years. And then, okay, we need people. A lot of those people went on to have great military careers. And so, to make everybody serve, no, I think it should be volunteer, because then it comes more from the heart. You're not doing it because somebody made you. Then you're really going to have a hard time conforming to that lifestyle.
Oh, I would definitely agree, because it's definitely it's not like you working at IHOP.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a commitment. It's serious, folks. So if any of you are thinking about going to the military, it is serious. It's not IHOP. So think about it.
Yeah, it's not McDonald's.
Yeah, it's not McDonald's. It's not like you're giving French fries out. It's definitely not that.
That's right.
Not that. Hey, so we're gonna do something here. I know. So Aaron sent me a video, and we didn't have time to prep it up. So we're gonna actually try to get it up. So we got the folks in the control booth that are gonna try to get this up as quickly as we can. So if you see like this crazy stuff going on, you will know that it's actually because we're really trying to get this up. So Aaron, why don't you set this up for us, because it really has something to do with what's going on now with the presidential election, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. This video is let me get the exact from 2014, I think it is, February 22nd, and it's a Kim Clement video.
Yep.
And if anybody who doesn't know who Kim Clement was, let me just give you a little background on the history, how he affected my life. For 2020 or 2019, I think it was, I was sitting at the top of my stairs. I've been out of work for 8 months. I'm just really down, and I'm trying to learn about Christianity, and like I know God's been pulling me, but I didn't. I was kind of checking the box every Sunday. I'm just going to go to church, check the box, and then come home and still, get mad at my wife or whatever it is, not living. But I remember Cecilia, my wife, she said, "Hey, you gotta watch this video. Somebody sent this to me, and it's just crazy." And so it was a Kim Clement video. And if anybody knows Kim Clement, there's a real famous one that he did. It was called "Trump Will Be a Trumpet." Was like a real big message. So I'm listening to this video, and as I'm listening to it, I'm thinking to myself, God is real. God used this man, right? God is speaking through this man. It wasn't about Kim, like, yes, you should honor people in their, for their faith and their obedience to God. But I saw God working through this man, and it just changed my life. Like, I mean, she'll tell you, it really made me. I woke up and I started seeing like things. What's going on around? Just things. I guess I was in a lull. Like a sleep. I had a veil over my eyes. When I saw God speak to this man, I really changed everything about my walk and Christianity. And so this is a video. Let me pull it up here. This is a video from I think February 22nd, 2014. Yep. And February 22nd, I don't know if you know, that's a special day. 2/22.
Yeah.
There's big prophetic conferences called like 2/22 conference and stuff like that. Not because of him, but for some reason that number. You know what February 22nd is, though, right?
What date in history it is?
That's my birthday.
Oh, your birthday, of course.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking
and George Washington's birthday.
And George Washington, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was married February 2nd, so it's the same month. So yes.
Yeah, it's anyways, so we're gonna if we can get working, we'll go through it. And God's been really talking to me. Like, look at what I'm showing. Like,
yeah. Okay. So I'm going to try to cue it up. Like I said, I'm going to try to get this up. So I'm going to be doing a lot of. I'll be jumping around stuff here, and of course my phone's ringing too at the same time. So it's everything happens at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and try to make this happen, folks. And here it goes. Okay. How am I going to make this work? Okay, here it goes.
My people have cried. My people have cried out for an answer. And this is what I have to say, says the Spirit of life. A veil has been placed upon this nation, and I did it. I did it. So that for a season my people would wonder and faith would increase. For in darkness faith grows. In despair faith grows. I did it.
I see your board on the
But
live.
now
there you
my
go.
fury
The sound of-
has ended. Hear me. For I have found a man after my own heart. I have found a man after my own heart, and he is amongst you. He is one of the brothers that singled out for presidency of the United States of America. But here, the transcription of God upon the heart of his prophet. How the gold has become dim. The stones of the sanctuary are scattered at the head of every street. The precious sons of Zion, valuable as fine gold, are now regarded as clay pots. Those who ate delicacies are desolate in the streets, and those who were brought up in royal scarlet now embrace ash heaps. Is this what I wanted? My people were brighter than snow, whiter than milk. They were like sapphire in their appearance, and now they are stricken for lack of fruits in the field. The hands of once compassionate women have cooked their own children, and their children have become food for them. Your children have become food for who were once compassionate women. But my fury is fulfilled, says the Lord. And I have now kindled a fire in Zion. I have kindled a fire in Zion, in America, in nations throughout the earth. And my fist is about to smack down on Russia. For out of the rebellion, turn me up just a little, out of the rebellion of the Ukraine, which was seen by my prophet, shall come out of those ashes beauty. Shall come out of that sadness joy. Shall come out of those garments praise, says the Lord. I have searched for a man and a woman who would stand in the Oval Office and pray and call for the restoration of the fortunes of Zion. I have looked for a man who would pray for the restoration of the fortunes of Zion. Therefore, if you hear my heart, says the Lord, today, I will take you on a journey. I will first take you to Israel, whom they would give Jerusalem.
Okay. All right, Aaron. All right, let's talk a little bit about what we've seen so far.
So let's talk about Oh my goodness, right? So much to say there. Like, let's talk about the first part where he's talking about my son, my people were white as milk, right? And now they embrace ash heaps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, do you see like what are we seeing? Like, not just his maybe. I see the homeless. I see him talking about the homeless living in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
and I see people who kind of turned a corner, maybe even could be the church, whatever. Like kind of turned a corner, and that they lost everything, because of what's happening. And oh my goodness, the woman cooking their own children.
Yep.
I saw a very hard. I like to listen to people's testimonies, and this man who was really high in the satanic church, who now became a Christian. He was telling his testimony about when he did that, and the things that he had said about what they would do were really dark. I remember the senator wanted to get a bill passed in the state he lived in, and he went to them, and he was young. That guy was a young guy, he went to them, and they did a whole ceremony where this girl, pregnant lady, aborted the baby right there in this ceremony, and they had the doctor, and they cut it up. I mean, it's just gross. Anyways, what he was saying, and it was just to get a bill passed. It wasn't like, I mean, that's it was the government official.
That's pretty dark. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty. You know what, Sherman? I'll be honest, man. Over this last 4 years, the very first dream that he gave me was the end of this story that we're about to turn the page on, right? And so we could talk about that after the video. Let's and then a man and the woman who will pray in the White House. Gosh, Trump 2016 and Trump 2024 are two different people. I really see a difference in somebody. I mean, gosh, how close that bullet came to his ear. You know what I mean? I really thought that he realized that God did something for him because of God's plan.
Yeah,
this is all God's plan.
I think Trump during the last the last 8 years or so, I think what he's noticed is that Christians trust him, which is big. I mean, which is big because he's already had, and now he's had what's her name from Florida? Gosh, I forgot the lady's name now. It's his spiritual advisor. But she's blonde-haired pastor from Florida. But he's trusted her for years now. And then he found, excuse me, that the Christian people trusted him. Mm-hmm. So that's big enough because I think he actually had a transformation on the campaign trail in 2016. But then the second glimpse of it was when the bullet, because it didn't miss him by like an inch. It missed him by like millimeters. His head turns just a little bit more, and it's taken off half his head. And so he, even if he's a nominal Christian, Donald Trump understands God has got something for him. I mean, he really does. He may not even understand the whole thing, but it's very, very, very interesting. So let's do this. I know there's a lot in this video, so why don't we continue on with the video, and we will see how much more we can get in. And once again, I want to apologize to all the folks that are watching this because we're doing this on the fly. We just got this video today, and we're going to try to get it up as quickly as we can. So please bear witness. Be careful, or have mercy on us as we try to get this thing over. Okay. So here we go. This is the second part. This is Kim Clement. This is in 2014. What's the date again on this here?
February 22nd.
February 22nd, 2014. Okay, and he's doing this prophetic. Wow, this is pretty cool. Okay, so here we go, folks.
for a man and a woman who would stand in the Oval Office and pray and call for the restoration of the fortunes of Zion. I have looked for a man who would pray for the restoration of the fortunes of Zion. Therefore, if you hear my heart, says the Lord, today, I will take you on a journey. I will first take you to Israel, whom they would give Jerusalem to his enemies. Why would they give half of Jerusalem away? This will not happen, says the Lord. For I will take you on a journey today into Jerusalem, where it shall be prophesied through song by my prophet what I intend doing in Jerusalem and in the United States of America at the same time, says the Lord. I am restoring the fortunes of Zion. I am restoring the fortunes that were the inheritance of my people. I am restoring the fortunes of those that are elect of God and had been stolen from. You shall eat your delicacies again, and your children will no longer be your food. You shall not use them and take them out of the womb anymore, says the Lord. Watch how I change everything, for there shall be those who are in justice, and there are those who are in a strong position. I'm just hearing this now. In the highest court in the land, the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, two shall step down for the embarrassment of what shall take place. For I wish to place in the highest court in the land righteousness, and they shall attempt to put others in to endeavor, to reach their endeavors. But God says, hear me tonight. Hear me today. I have this whole thing planned out according to my will. For it is now time for me to restore the fortunes of Zion. The fortunes to those that had it once, you are going to get it back. This is my promise, says the Lord of hosts. Give him a shout. This man has stood in Jerusalem. This man that I saw in the vision, the man that came out of a vision, please hear me.
Okay. Boy, that's a lot in there.
Yeah, I took notes while we were going.
Notes?
Yeah, I'm taking notes of what I wanted to say. I got it because this part. Let's see, a man after God's own heart. Right? He talks about a man. What does that look like to you? To me,
Sure. Looks
I
like David.
see. What's that?
Looks like David, actually. Yeah.
David, right? But what made David so special was he loved God, right? Of course, David was an Israelite, and he grew up in, being an Israelite. He was anointed as a young man, so he knew, what God was going to do. But it was the sense of righteousness and justice. Like, think about this. David sinned, right? He had sent his best friend out to fight in the vanguard and died so he could be with his wife because she was pregnant. But when the prophet came to him and said, hey, let me tell you a story about a man with a lamb. And the first thing he did after he heard that story was, all right, we're going to get that guy and we're going to pay him back. And he's like, it's you. And he realized, the first thing he thought was, okay, well, that man deserves justice. But then when he knew it was him and he told him that, his son was going to pass or whatever, or he would lose it, he instantly broke, And so the point was, I really see that sense of justice in him, that sense of righteousness, that sense of we're going to do the right thing. Even though he sinned and he did things that wasn't right, still in his heart was that, and God said, I still love you. I know you're who you are. So anyways, to me, that's what I see is, God's throne is yeah. Okay, so and then he talked about again the children, taking them out of the womb. I mean, we saw how things change. I wanted to explain this. When God is speaking, like, he doesn't speak in a linear timeline. He kind of goes all over the place. So, that discernment piece, knowing like when he's talking about something in the back and something in some, and I think it's meant to throw people off on purpose. Like, he's not going to just give out all his plans. He will give it out, but it takes that prophetic ear to say, he's talking about somebody else. Now it's something else. It's that, it's really, I see that it's never in a linear. So he talked about that. And then he went back to something. Then he talked about taking children out of the womb. We saw how, overturning Roe versus Wade and how that's, I think that it's not done. I think there's even going to be more, but, and then the highest court in the land. Let me say something. So I saw so he said 2 will step down because of the embarrassment of what happened. Now we haven't seen that yet. However, there was a article that came out 2 days ago or a day ago saying that they're pushing Sotomayor to step down. That was the exact words of the article, to step down. But she's like saying, no, I'm not going to do it. And then there's something I seen this documentary a while ago about the CIA and how they kind of watch people and they make files on everybody, And then I saw there was a book that came out and it was on Candace. You ever watch Candace? Did you see
pretty much every day?
One?
Yeah, pretty much every day.
Yeah. Did you see the one with the ex-CIA guy?
No, you have to remind me of what it was.
I'll send it to you. We can watch it. But anyways, this guy who was in the CIA and he was sent out to the field to do this undercover work. And after about 5 years, he realized that he's losing himself to this work. So they put him in these desk jobs. They tried to kill him by painting the ceiling of the roof in the attic of his house with this toxic paint. And it made all him and his family so sick. And he went in there with black lights and was looking around and realized that they had been up there painting this stuff in his. It's really. I'll send it to you. You have to watch. It's really good. But they put files on things, and I'm seeing these things like kind of open these little doors that are saying like, watch this, watch how the CIA is making files on people, and we can talk about it more later. But we can keep going because we'll keep going because I know it's long. It's a little. It's about 17 minutes or so, but there's so much to say.
And for you folks that are just watching the show, this is This Week in Prophecy. I'm Pastor Sherman. This is Aaron Newton. And we're watching a video by Kim Clement. And it's February of 2014. And the interesting thing about this video is that it's got a lot of prophetic stuff that we're watching coming to fruition today, which is very cool. And so we're discussing it. We want to apologize in advance because some of you are going to be watching this. You're going to be saying, man, you guys aren't, the production quality on this is not that it's great, because we're trying to switch back to the video that's actually online. So we want to apologize for that before. And if you want to send an email, just send it to This Week in Prophecy and at gmail.com and put it in care of Aaron, that because he didn't get the video.
I'll take it. It's my bad.
This Week in Prophecy at gmail.com. All right, so here we're going to go again, and you'll love this, folks. It's very interesting, so check this out. Once again, Kim Clement, February 22nd of 2014, prophetic ministry show that he was doing, and where he's talking about things that are happening right now. So here we go.
I was standing in my garden. Suddenly the Spirit came and removed from my eyes scales. I was praying for America and I was praying for Israel. Nothing unusual. And suddenly behind me, starting behind my back, going in the form of an arrow, for hundreds of thousands of people. And I turned around and I was stunned at what I saw. This was not just a mere dream, but this was a vision. And so I raised my hand like this, and every one of them raised their hands. I looked back and they were doing the same thing. I shouted, and they all shouted. They were one. They were one. One party. One party of people. It continued until I realized that the unity of these, amongst them stood one that God had set aside to be the leader of this nation. I said, why am I hearing this so soon? Surely you would show me a little bit of it closer to the time. And the Spirit of God said to me, this man has a humble stature, but he is a genius. And then I heard gold. I wasn't sure if this was attached to his name, but he said to me, he will restore the fortunes in this nation. Because of his brilliance. I couldn't quite see his face because that was not allowed, because there was a mist that covered all the people and he was amongst them. And the Spirit of God made me look at him, and he said, this man will throttle the enemies of Israel. This man will throttle the enemies of the West. And there are highly embarrassing moments that are about to occur for many, many politicians in this nation. There will be a shaking amongst the Democrats in the upcoming elections, but unsettling for the Republicans. Why is God doing this? For God said, I am dissatisfied with what emerges from both parties. And then there is a nation, he showed me, took me, itching for a new kind of war with America.
All right.
All right, let's talk about that piece right here. So you notice how he said, I look behind me and these people are in the form of an arrow, right?
Okay.
He said, I raised my hands, and they raised their hands, and I shouted, and they all shouted. So I hear a lot of people talk about that, and they always say this is the new party, Trump, MAGA, it's Trump standing in there. And I do believe that he was in there. But if you notice how he was standing amongst them, he wasn't leading them.
Okay.
The man, Kim Clement, was standing in front of everybody.
Okay.
And so when I pray on this, like what are you saying here? Because it's almost a little confusing, but not. What he's saying is, I'm the God is the new party.
Mm-hmm.
This is the party of God. God's speaking to this man. God's saying, raise your hands. I raise my hands. They all raise their hands. They're following God. This man,
Okay.
Kim Clement, remember there was a Reawaken America tour that had came through here, and we had went, and I just see how much this man is, these prophetic words have, people are just following and like, wow, this is, we know what's going to happen. God's speaking to his people, the election and all these things. And, he raised his hand, and they're following God. And so he saw this man in the crowd, and he had a humble stature. And the other day I was watching an interview that he did with Tyrese, the guy on Gutfield. Did you ever see that? Have you seen that interview?
Tyrese,
that's right. He was very humble. He's like, I always thought of you as this loudmouth kind of, he kind of, but when I met you, you really were a humble man. Like you spent 20 minutes talking to my daughter and like, just interested in her life. And he's like, I totally see you as a different person. And the media shows us all these things, and you see Trump as this loudmouth bully, but to everybody else, he's like a humble person. I'm like, wow, that was really, really eye-opening, that interview. And so, anyways, his brilliance, and it was God's plan. Again, this is God's plan. It was so brilliant, only be given by me. Um, so this man will throttle the enemies of the West. We've seen that in the first. We saw that in the first. But then he said, the upcoming elections, it'd be devastating for the Democrats, but unsettling for the Republicans. There's a lot of Republicans still are anti-Trump people, and I truly 100% believe that there's a lot of Republicans that are not good people. And
yeah, and they might be good in their own eyes because they're part of the establishment, and you're used to getting things done the way they've done it over the years. And they're almost like the old Democrats too, who are saying, "Hey, wait a minute, I want to make my money now too," because Hillary Clinton, when she got into office, and this is my own, I hate to be conspiracy brother, but this is kind of my own conspiracy thing, is when Hillary Clinton was going to get into office, a lot of people who were on the left said, "Hey, all right, Hillary's going to get in office. We can make our money now. We can make our money." And when she looked like she was not going to make it, everybody went, "Oh, crud. What are we going to do?" China's here. They got all the money for us. And Hillary was supposed to do some work for us. And it was done. Trump was an existential threat, not to the country. He was an existential threat to their money. Because these people were making money. And you've got people who are that way on the right, too. Yeah.
100%. I don't. There was an interview that Nancy Pelosi did with somebody, and she was saying, "We only need 10. We only need 10. This 10 of Democrats, but then they have a bunch of Republicans that are already, with them. You could say, like, just like Cheney. She is not a Republican. She is a Democrat. She works. She's gonna lose a lot of money. I bet you. That's why she went with them. So, anyways, all right.
Yeah, because you see the same thing with this guy, forgot the guy's name. He was the minority. He was the leader of the Senate for a while. Mitch McConnell. So Mitch McConnell's wife is Chinese. Her dad has a shipping company that was basically sponsored by the Chinese government, and so his bread was buttered. And he had no problem with China doing whatever they wanted to do because they've got money involved in it. So when in doubt, follow the money, right? So
that is 100%. Look at Eric Swalwell. That man was having an affair with a Chinese spy. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. New York, the personal assistant, Kathy Hochul, Chinese spy. We're seeing it more and more and more.
It's funny how people will sell out their souls for a couple of bucks, and the Chinese know it. The Chinese know that that's part of what's going on in America, is that we will sell it. I mean, you've got, because it makes absolutely no sense. Why would you endanger your country? It's a lot of money. That's really pretty much it. Yeah, I'll just move to another country. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see people trying to leave. Actually, like watch. People are gonna try to sneak off in the net.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Ready to watch the rest of this?
Yeah.
So once again, folks, this is a Kim Clement, February 22nd, 2014. It's a video we're watching. I want once again just forewarn you about our breaks between to get to the video. It's a little wonky, but we will get there, and the content will be there. Okay, so we'll go to it right now. Okay, so watch. Here we go.
They will shout, "Impeach, impeach," they say. But nay. This nation shall come very subtly, but he shall not come in the time of President Obama. They shall come when this new one arises, my David, that I have set aside for this nation. A man of prayer, a man of choice words, not a man who is verbose, who has verbosity, who speaks too much. They will even say, this man is not speaking enough. But God says, I have set him aside. They will shout, impeach, impeach, but this shall not happen. And then God says, highly embarrassing moments when another Snowden arises. And people will become very afraid. They'll say, we have no protection. And then God says, am I impressed with your weapons of war? Am I impressed with the strength of your men's legs? Ha! I have said I will bring this nation to its knees. And God said, you have been humbled, and yet some more, and then you shall hear the sounds of great victory. For where are the people gathered? Where are my people gathered? Where is the sound of unity from my people? I want just this crowd here and all the thousands watching all over the world. Just do me a favor, just for about 30 seconds, raise up your voice and shout, come on! Listen to that. America, America, Israel, Israel, Israel is forever. 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 In this next week, this man shall begin to emerge.
Come on.
And in the following 2 weeks, which is a 3-week period,
Alrighty. But it's
All right.
it's a lot easier to get away from the video than it is to get to it. I mean,
You know, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
And from us, I'm watching our stream right now, and here so I can listen and like take little notes because. And I forget there's a lag, there's a little lag.
Yeah,
so I'm waiting
quite
for
a
it
bit
to
of a
come up,
lag,
and
yeah.
we're just sitting here like. so I'm like, okay, here we go. That's it. And then so anyway, so let's talk about that. Impeach. I mean, that's crazy.
That was pretty spot on.
He said it twice.
Yeah.
He said it twice, and then highly embarrassing moments with another Snowden arises. I believe that man on the Candace show is another Snowden. He is
okay. Yeah.
things that, like the CIA. How many have you ever heard of a CIA whistleblower?
Not in my lifetime, just recently. Yeah, that's it.
No, there's no such thing as it. There's one guy who wrote a book, and he explains how that guy was able to write a book, because they do anytime anybody who works for the CIA does a non-disclosure agreement about anything with the CIA, but for some reason they forgot to make that man write it, so he wrote a book.
Yeah,
okay. I mean, even at the end of the video, he's like, look, I'll be honest, I'm really scared. Like, this is not something that you do, So anyways, I'll send it to you. You can watch it, maybe place a link on the next one. Highly embarrassing moments with another Snowden arises. I mean, that, man, that to me is just, it's that video that we just watched was amazing. Like, I'm going back and watching these videos that I watched like 4 years ago, and I'm seeing the things play out, especially the justice, when he said two justices will step down. And I saw that article, they want her to step down, even though she's saying no. So in the video, he explains how the CIA, I saw another documentary where they were explaining about the CIA and how they got files on people. So what would happen was they would set up these houses, and the CIA would pay prostitutes to pick up men, CIA agents, other agents, take them, and other government officials and all these people, take them into this house that they had set up. They get the prostitute to give them drugs. They would go in there and drink and do drugs and do these things, and the CIA would be filming the whole thing. And then when that person stepped out of line, they would say, "Hey, here you go. Look at this file." So there was a thing that happened, and this was a good example of that. Kennedy, apparently, he was having a thing with this woman who was from Germany, and they found out that she had connections to the German government, and so they said, "We're going to expose you." And this was a thing, like the Senate, these men from the Senate were like, "We're going to expose you. We're going to have a hearing." So Robert Kennedy went to the director of the FBI, who was Hoover at the time, and said, "I need your help." Hoover had files on all those senators. So he went to talk to him, and he laid him out, and he said, "If you continue with this Kennedy thing, here you go." The next day, they're like, "Well, we found out everything's fine, and we're just going to." You have no idea how much these people are doing in our lives, in everybody's lives, right? So this is how they keep them quiet. This is how they keep. So, anyways,
Yeah, but the interesting thing about it is, as far as it goes with the Kim Clement thing, though, it kind of reminds me of the whole Elisha thing, where or Elijah, where the king was saying, "Hey, who among us is telling of our plans and our secrets to destroy Israel?" And they're saying, "No, it's nothing. It's nobody from in our house. It's that prophet out there." They can do all they want to try to hide the truth. Eventually, it's going to come out. Here's the interesting thing about this video of this Clement thing, Kim Clement thing. This happened 2 years before Donald Trump was elected. So everything he's talking about happened a couple of years before he was in. The appointment of the Supreme Court justices, that happened before this. He's talked about it before it happened. During Donald Trump's, during his first term, how many Supreme Court justices did he appoint?
He had 3, right? Was it 2?
It was 2. Yeah, it definitely was 2. Okay. And so he was talking about, and this, Satan can try to do all he wants. He can try to do anything he wants, but eventually it's going to come out. And in Kim Clement's case here, it was a couple of years before he even did it. It was almost like he was orchestrating it. So he was forthtelling what was going on in this whole thing, because he wasn't telling something that was going to happen. He actually spoke it into existence, and then it happened, which is very cool.
So the very first time he spoke about Trump being a trumpet was in 2007.
There you go. Yeah.
So he was a Democrat at that time,
And I can so from what the first time I heard about Donald Trump wanting to run for office was 2015ish, and that's when I told what's her name? I'm trying to remember her name again. Oh gosh, I'm not going to remember her name. But like we were talking about before, his spiritual advisor, I wish I could remember her name.
Geez.
But
I just had it when we were talking earlier.
But they
Paula
actually
White.
said, Paula White, yes. So Paula White said that she had a conversation with him, and that he told her that, "Hey, I'm going to run for president." And it was probably prior to 2015. But it didn't come into fruition until 2015. So this thing, I'm almost guaranteeing you, Trump never listened to Kim Clement in 2007, right?
No. As a matter of fact, I listened. His daughter has one podcast that she does every Friday, and I was listening to her talk about. She's like, "I remember when he said the 2007 one," and she's like, "Trump, like I know who he is, but we don't know anything about him." He's like, "Yeah, me neither. I got to go back and listen to the tapes so I can understand what I was saying." Like, because
Isn't that
but
amazing?
he actually prophesied that Kim Clement. There's a video of him prophesying over Paula White 10 years before, saying that she was going to be an advisor to these people. Yeah, it's really coming together, Sherman. I'm telling you, it's coming together. All these pieces of the puzzle are coming together. Like, man, the like this part right now. I had a dream and I couldn't find it, but I was in a room and I could hear people speaking somewhere else. There was like a listening device in that other thing, and I was hearing them speak somewhere else. And I just remember how this, like, when I heard these things about the CIA and this stuff and all these things, and I remember that it was like that dream, like, came, like, remember this, like you are listening to them somewhere else speaking about things out. I'm like, whoa, man, that's crazy. That's just nuts. Anyways, it's crazy.
Well, they say the things that are said in secret, right? That God's going to bring them out, and there's nothing that God's not going to reveal. I asked Pastor Tommy. You know Pastor Tommy.
Yeah,
And he and I were talking about this just on a different show we have, and we were talking about these next 4 years. What are these? Because no one had really anticipated what was going to happen during these last 4 years under the Biden administration. The most heinous, crazy, left wing, crazy stuff that you could imagine was happening. Christians were caught off guard. COVID hit, country was locked down, churches are closed, everything's, and we were just scrambling. We're like ducks with our feet. So all of our rights were taken away from us for 4 years, and then now we're kind of reeling at the end of it. What do you think the church is going to do now? Because we've got a second chance at being very active right now. We've got a second chance at doing something unprecedented, and if we so I'll just leave it there. What do you think the church is going to do at this point?
So remember, oh my goodness, last week I had laid out this story that God had told me about the binding of the strong man, and then once the church is the strong man, right? So that COVID thing, we were bound, and but yes, there is a second chance, right, Sherman? You say after this, like, I see a lot of people saying, praying and Trump, and we want to fix this country, we love this country, but then what, right? Like you just said right now what? So now it's up to us to move to be the strong man again, right? Um, in the way that the church was meant to be that strong man, right? So, I mean, I can't say that, this needs to change, this needs to change. You can see things that need to change. Um, there has to be a unity of people behind Christ, not behind what we think is the way it's supposed to be. So that to me is the first step, right? Because he says in the video, where are my people gathered? Where are my people? Where's the sound of unity, right? And I see that the sound of unity is like a frequency, like the frequency of something. Where I had this dream where we were doing this show and it was coming out of my mouth like this, and then I saw somebody else doing a show who is very in a religious structure, and he was speaking and it came out like a square pipe out of his mouth. It was rigid and hard, but when you and I spoke, it was flowing, like it flowed with you ever see a frequency wave? Like it's up and down, right? That as an electrician, the alternating current flows up and down. But when he spoke, it was just so hard and rigid and square, and it just, you could see coming out. That we have to find this common ground. Look at what happened, right? So think about Esther. This is a good example of where we need to go. Think about the show of Esther, or the story of Esther. When he says to Esther, if you don't do this, he will find somewhere else to come from. He was looking for his church to push, hey, right, vote. 20, like you said, 20,000 people, or 20% of the church votes. What did he need in Pennsylvania? Who did he call to say, come vote? Was it the people that we thought it was going to be, the church? Like, no, he called the Amish, and they pushed that, right? So at that moment, it was that Esther moment for the church to step out and say, you know what? We're going to come together as a church and be in unity behind Christ. right? Not behind, just behind Christ. And oh, I'm not voting. Like, you got a lot of churches telling people, we're not voting, or we're voting for Kamala Harris. So he grabbed somebody who we didn't even think would even leave their compound, and pushed Pennsylvania, that state that once he won Pennsylvania, he moved us over the line. I mean, this is our moment to find that common ground, to be the strong man again, to be, in oh, it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
I just hope we don't get when the Israelites came out of Egypt, they were so used to being a certain way that, and God was like, come on, we gotta come together and be in this. I'm gonna give you the promised land, but they wandered in the desert because the pillar was there, or the pillar, the fire, the cloud was there. They got so used to this God living in God's glory that they just, well, I want to go back because I'm hungry. I don't want to eat manna, whatever it is. I just hope we don't lose that.
We don't have the luxury of time. I think there needs to be an urgency with the church, and not to say, "Hey, we're going to get ahead of God," but Pastor Tommy said something like this: that we need to be more than just talk. We need to be action.
Yeah.
Because guess what? The last 4 years proves one thing, not to the church, but it proves something to Satan, that he could manipulate the entire globe. Within seconds. It didn't happen. It didn't take months and months of preparation, months and months of. All he's got to do is come up with a pandemic, and the governments of the world just folded. I mean, they folded.
Fell in line, yeah.
I mean, just that quick. They closed up the entire world, and it showed something to Satan. It showed something to the principalities and powers over nations, that they could control everybody just like that. And the church doesn't have that luxury now, where we can say, "Oh, let's just wait around for something to happen." I don't think, and I think you're right. We need to have that come to Jesus moment, right? The church needs to have a come to Jesus moment and say, "This is a great opportunity." Getting people saved. One, I mean, we got humbling ourselves, because Jonathan Cahn said something very interesting. And because he comes from the school that when something bad happens, that we look at it as something that God is trying to give us a message in there someplace. I believe it. That America saw something that we need to, one, repent of that and say, God, what did we do wrong? What have we done? What are we doing wrong? And we repent of that. But then secondly, we need to get activated, because we need to do exactly the opposite of what we did to get here, because we allowed our kids to get killed, we allowed all this stuff to happen, and so we just don't have the luxury of saying, "Oh, let's just wait another year and maybe have a conference on this." Right?
Conferences. Look at, Sherman, being a Christian is more than church, right? Just like you're saying, right? It's actually, like, I think there's this mindset in places where it's like, well, I'm in the world, I'm not of it, right? But obviously we saw how quickly everything folded, right? Because that it was, I'm in the world, I'm not of it. But being a Christian is actually more, it's being that light in a dark place. Okay. If you're just in a place where there's just light, it's so bright, right? But when you're that light in the dark place, that means people who are active in government, and people who are just a light at their work, or there's so much more. And that's that part where that I think that part is kind of missing. I mean, there's so many things. There's way too many things to. I don't want to just bash, but now that we have seen the capabilities, and it wasn't just like we knew it was coming. It was tomorrow this happened, and so many people gave up. But there was some that didn't, and now they're starting to reap that harvest of the seeds they sown. But I tell you what, Sherman, there has to be a coming together, that come to Jesus moment of people, because if not, right now God has turned this page, right? You say this page in the Bible is so prophetic, and like you said, you've seen how things relate. Once this page is turned, are we going to keep going forward? Because he wants us to have dominion. This is our dominion.
That's right. It is our dominion. I'll tell you, Aaron, we're out of time. We're out of time. I'd love to go to the rest of this tape. Maybe we'll actually finish the rest of this tape next week, or maybe we'll do a special broadcast and go through the rest of it. And we will solve the technical difficulties on this, folks. We really will, because it's a fantastic prophetic pronouncement by Kim Clement. So can we do this next time?
Yeah, whenever you want. Man.
Fantastic, brother. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to let you go. And folks, thank you for being a part of the broadcast. Aaron, once again, brother, we will talk to you later, okay?
All right, my friend.
All right, we'll see you. And folks, I want to thank you for being a part of the broadcast also. Wasn't that fantastic? It really was. Kim Clement, just a mighty man of God, and he's doing just a wonderful, wonderful job, even from the grave. He's just doing some great things. So for those of you just tuned in, you maybe missed the whole show. We had a great show with Aaron talking about Kim Clement and a prophetic, he gave a prophecy that was done 10 years ago that is as relevant today as it was when it was first given. And you can actually check it out. Go to our YouTube channel and check it out, or you can check us out on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, or even better, go to godstream.org, Google godstream.org, or Google This Week in Prophecy on the program, and you can actually check it out for yourself. Okay. Anyways, this has been Pastor Sherman Ray for This Week in Prophecy. I hope that you guys enjoyed this show, because I personally really did. We will see you again next week for more of This Week in Prophecy. You guys have a wonderful day in the Lord, and we'll talk to you later. Okay. Bye-bye.